So today, we're diving into a book that asks a pretty radical question, right where faith and the body meet. It's called A Dialogue on Pleasure in the Divine. And, it's really trying to reframe some of theology's oldest and, let's be honest, most heated conversations about desire. So, what happens when you start to question centuries of tradition? Well, let's get into it. Right out of the gate, the book just challenges tradition head on. I mean, instead of seeing desire as this dangerous thing that you have to control or suppress, it completely flips the script. It asks, what if? What if it's actually a source of strength, a divine gift? And that one question, right there, is the key to everything this book is trying to do.
Okay, so what's the problem a book like this is even trying to solve? Well, according to the authors, it all boils down to this fundamental disconnect. They see this huge gap right at the heart of modern faith, this clash between church doctrine and, well, real life.
See, on one side, you've got the official church doctrine, right? A set of fixed, really old rules about the body, love, and sexuality. But on the other side, you have the messy, complicated, beautiful, and super diverse reality of how people actually live and love. The book argues that this gap, what it calls the Kluft in German, which is a word that suggests a really deep, painful chasm, is a massive source of conflict for people of faith today. And that is the book's mission, plain and simple, to try and build a bridge across that chasm. It's not trying to create a new set of rules, not at all. It's an invitation to a dialogue, a way to bring these two worlds, the rigid doctrine and our lived reality, into a new and hopefully more honest conversation.
So how in the world do you bridge a gap that wide? The book's answer is that you have to start by totally reimagining one of the most loaded concepts in all of theology, desire, or in the original German, Lust.
And this leads us to the book's absolute central idea, Lust am Göttlichen, or pleasure in the divine. Now, in this way of thinking, desire is no longer some sinful weakness you should be ashamed of. Nope. Instead, it gets reframed as a God-given energy, a powerful force that actually fuels our ability to love, that upholds our dignity, and can even, get this, deepen our faith. And the result of this big shift is a whole new way of looking at sexual ethics. It's an ethic that is, as the source puts it, first, human-centered, so it's putting people's well-being first. Second, it's pleasure-friendly, acknowledging that pleasure is a good thing. And third, it's life-affirming, celebrating our bodies and our experiences.
Now, to explore all this, the book uses a really cool format. It's basically a series of frequently asked questions. And to really push the conversation forward, it pulls a lot from the field of queer theology. Let's just unpack two of the biggest questions it throws out there.
First up, this is a big one, a real foundational question. If we start to embrace all this human diversity, what does that do to the traditional way we understand creation itself? And you can really see the shift here. The argument is all about moving away from this traditional, rigid idea of an order of creation, where everything has one single proper place, and instead moving towards what they call a diversity of creation. In this new view, all that variety and difference, well, it isn't a mistake. It's actually celebrated as a core part of the divine plan. Okay, and then the book poses an even more provocative question. Can figures like Jesus or God be understood through a queer lens? Now, what that means here is, can we see them in a way that breaks norms, that challenges established power, and that stands with people on the margins of society? Now, it's really important to get this. The goal here isn't to find one single correct answer. The whole point of asking these kinds of questions is to intentionally shake up old assumptions. It's all about opening the door to new ways the church can care for its people and, just as importantly, new ways it might need to change. So, you see, this isn't just some abstract theoretical exercise. The book is really clear that these big theological ideas have to lead to concrete, real-world changes in how the church actually functions. And this table lays out exactly what those changes could look like. When it comes to marriage, the proposed approach moves from the traditional man and woman only model to marriage for all. For ordination, it challenges gender restrictions to open it up to women. And finally, with pastoral care, it's calling for a shift away from focusing on law and authority toward a new model that's centered on freedom and real, genuine relationships. So when you boil it all down, what's the one guiding principle behind this whole vision? What's the ultimate goal here for what a community of faith could actually be? This quote, wow, it really gets to the absolute heart of the argument. Freedom and relationship before law and fear. It's a call to build a theology on a foundation of trust and authentic connection, instead of one built on rigid rules and the fear of breaking them. So ultimately, the vision is for a church that fully respects our physical bodies. This is that big theological idea of incarnation, God present in the flesh. It's a vision for a community that doesn't just put up with diversity, but one that actively celebrates it as a divine gift. And so that leaves us with the same challenge that the book poses to all of its readers. If we take these ideas seriously, what would a community of faith that truly celebrates the full diversity of human love and identity, what would that actually look and feel like? That's the powerful question we're all invited to answer.